and welcome back to Smart Family Media Center for today's press conference. As a reminder that this press conference is being carried by Clemson Plus as well as our partners at 105.5 The Roar and Fox Carolina. So if you can, please speak up and enunciate so those audiences can hear your questions. Coach Swinney will have some introductory comments. We'll then go to questions in the room, and if time permits at the end, we'll go to questions virtually. Coach, when you're ready, take it away.
Okay, I appreciate it. We're excited to head out on the first road game this week. Got a huge challenge in Georgia Tech. This is a big game for both teams. Obviously, we're getting into conference play and our first road test. So excited about the opportunity. Brent's done an amazing job down there. This is a tough, physical, well-coached football team. And they're battle tested, especially on offense with that quarterback. I mean, this guy's a warrior. I have a ton of respect for him as a player. They got really good skill around him. They're tough and physical up front. They all really understand their scheme, and they take a lot of pride in the execution of it. So put a lot of strain on you defensively. I mean, it's there's multiple options on every snap, and but they're going to put it in their best players' hands. So they got between their quarterback and 0 and 1. Those guys really strain you. They're going to touch the ball early, often, in a lot of different ways, whether it's from the backfield, jet sweeps, and then they've done a nice job with some guys on the perimeter that they brought in there that have the ability to make some big plays too. So some of those guys didn't play a lot last week with the nature of their game. They blocked a couple of kicks, so they do a good job. Creating some opportunity there. We'll have to do a really great job with our protection, and then defensively, they're not giving up a ton of big plays. I mean, they do a nice job of, just executing their defense, being where they're supposed to be. They're active up front. They're thick and stout up front. Again, game kind of got away last week, but a good opener versus Colorado to kind of get a feel for their personnel over there. So a big challenge for us. Again, this is also a rivalry game. Clemson, Georgia Tech's one of the older ones. They've been going on for a long time. Always fun to be a part of this game. Been a lot of great ones over the years, and we're thankful for this opportunity. But look forward to going down there and having a great competition. Any questions?
The physical battle is always important, like on the line of scrimmage, defensive line, but given what you were talking about with how much they play with your eyes, is the mental maybe as important, if not more, keeping their eyes in the right places?
Yeah, the eye discipline is, this is critical. It's always critical, regardless of style of play, because everybody presents their own challenges from an eye discipline standpoint. But these guys, in pretty much every snap, there's a shift, there's a motion, there's some type of jet. And then by nature of just their scheme, it's quarterback power, quarterback counter with RPOs built into it, with what we call slash guys coming down the line of scrimmage, where they just don't block people. They just control them based on reaction. Keep it, pull it, and if I do pull it, well, there's not necessarily a pitch player, but there's an outlet pass. So it's basically a triple option scheme, from spread formations, and just different ways to get to it. Again, and then they'll run around and turn around and bam, they're hitting you right up the middle with some type of downhill play. But it's all about the quarterback. He makes it go. Because he's the decision maker. So it's hard to make him wrong as far as because he's equipped to make them right. So you have to win matchups. You got to win matchups. You got to tackle in space. So eye discipline is critical. Certainly the physical matchup is critical. But you also got to do a great job in space, because the ball gets in the space just by nature of everybody doing their job, and so you got to have some hard edges. They're going to challenge you on the perimeter, and so that's what they do best. They make you defend the field sideline to sideline, and then they got the shots built into it in the play action.
Does it concern you also that especially like if you look back at the Miami game last year against them, they used two quarterbacks, and then last week obviously showed a different quarterback. Does that you got to prepare for both guys?
Yeah, I mean, the backup. I mean, he threw for a ton of yards. He's a good player. They can both run the offense. So yeah, you got to be prepared for that. Those are things that you always. Anytime you see something on tape like that, two quarterbacks in the game, that puts puts your antenna up a little bit. So yeah, we just got to do a great job again, just taking care of our business. Making sure that we communicate well, eyes are in the right place, and that physically everybody does their job. That's what it comes down to.
Dabo, going back and watching the tape from the past couple of weeks, what have you seen has been, I guess, the biggest reason for some of the offensive struggles with Cade and the rest of the offense?
Routine stuff. Just really poor job with routine stuff. It's really that simple.
How do you make sure that routine stuff is fixed for this game?
Yeah, practice. And again, that's the frustrating part is it hasn't shown up in practice. And then you get into that first game, and again, there was a lot there in the first game. In a game like that, it's you're going to get 4 or 5 plays, and we didn't take advantage of those opportunities. And so it's going to come down to a play or two, and we just didn't perform like we needed to. But this past week, just some precision in what we're doing, and again, just defensively, after 2 games, they've done a good job. Not that they're perfect, but they've given up 3 touchdowns in 2 games. So I can live with that. The 4th touchdown was on the offense on a pick 6. So we got to just clean up the execution part from an offensive standpoint. That's just not played with great rhythm, and guys got to make the plays that are there. That's where it starts. Whether it's the quarterback or it's catching the ball, just getting there. We got too many 9 out of 11 guys doing their job, and you're not going to be a great offense when that's the case. So played 2 games, got 2 different experiences, and 2 opportunities to learn and teach and grow, and our job to go get better.
Obviously, you talked about Georgia Tech has a very defined identity offensively. What have you seen in practice? What's the identity of Clemson when you guys are actually taking that to the game field, do you think?
Well, right now, it's not very good. So it's early, though. We'll see. We've got a long way to go.
I guess what have you seen in terms of in practice?
Very productive. Elite quarterback play, explosive receivers, really good run game. It's been that way all the camp. And then we just didn't get off to the start that we want, but don't mean we can't have the ending we want.
Having some time to review the film, what stood out about Adam Randall against Troy?
Just his toughness, his will to win, his heart. He's physical, and just that's his first game to really. We didn't even really hardly use him in the first game, but there's a lot of opportunity for him to grow, and I think the biggest thing is just his timing in some things, especially when it comes to your counter and your powers, and when you've got pullers, there's times where he's not where he's too fast. All of a sudden, he gets sped up, and that can happen. Especially, Spiller used to be that way. Spiller used to, heck, he was the puller because the puller was behind him, but he was so fast it didn't matter. But that ain't good football. I need to be in the hip of my pullers, all right. And so there's timing. And again, that's just comes from playing a little bit, and because oftentimes you can get in a game and you get sped up a little bit, and so I think Adam, and he did some really good stuff, but I think just some precision a little bit more in his footwork and just the timing and the feel of where he needs to be on some of our landmarks, tracks, not cutting on air, pressing the blocks, just some basic stuff that he's done well in practice, but. Again, he's just got to stick to that when he gets into the game. So, and again, his first real opportunity in that regard. But he's a good football player. He's he just gonna keep going, and then hopefully we can get some rhythm going in our offense where we can get the flow a little bit better with some of our other guys as well.
Do you have more confidence in their in-game adjustments after Saturday?
Yeah, they did a nice job. It's really, again, it's not as much about the adjustments as it is. That's just executing what we've coached them to do, and getting 11 guys to do their job. That's really what this comes down to. But it was a nice job. I think the biggest thing Saturday was just calming everybody down and just playing through the funk, and because that was a really weird. I mean, it was just a really weird deal. You felt like you're down 35-0, and because it's just you finally get a break, and it's a fumble, and you got field position. Next thing you know, it goes 50 yards that way, and you get a drop, the fumble, pick six. It's like what all could go wrong here, but hey, that's football, and to see them respond like that shows what they're made of. So great test for them early.
I know y'all have had limited snaps offensively, but has Cade been as much of a factor with his legs as maybe you envisioned in those two games?
No, he hasn't. He's been too much of a factor with his legs. In that he's scrambled when he doesn't need to scramble. That's where he's got to get better. And that's what he did early in his career. And he did as the game, especially as we got into rhythm. He was really good. But even the other day, there were a couple of plays where he's running out of the pocket for no reason. And he didn't do that all at camp. So that's just it was really bad in the LSU game. But he had just a couple of plays, and then again once we kind of got in rhythm, he looked like Cade. So again, hopefully they'll pick up where they left off from a execution standpoint, and we'll have a chance to be a good offense.
What's the message headed into a game like this? And obviously you mentioned ACC opener, road opener. Tech has a huge home crowd there. Just the message to the guys about this type of game, first one they're going to play in. Yeah,
I think it's always a message when you're going on the road of preparing your guys that no different than at home, honestly, in that external things can't determine your performance. If it does, then you're always going to be controlled by external things. And so when you're in the arena, you've got to really be disciplined, with how you think and what your focus is on. Because, where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? And so, if you're focused on all these things you don't control, they're cheering for you or they're screaming at you, your energy goes that way, right? Like you just got to focus on what you're doing, one play at a time, and tune all that stuff out, whether it's real noise or, just noise that we live in society. It's all the same. So it's a great opportunity. That's just part of it. You're going to be a great team. You got to go win on the road. And so in this, and we all get 8 conference games, and every game is a playoff game. It's just how it is. That's how you got to look at it. Every game, every conference game is a playoff game, because everybody's got the same goals and aspirations. And when you lose one, you put yourself kind of a little wind at your face. You're not out, but you kind of wind at your face and you're a little uphill. Last year we lost one game, but as it turned out, if Miami had beat Syracuse, then they would have had the tiebreaker. Because now you got all these tiebreakers and who played who and all that stuff. So but Syracuse won the game, and so we had one loss, and SMU was undefeated. So that's who went to the league. So the best path is to go win all your conference games. That's your best path. And so every conference game is a playoff game, because every conference games has playoff implications, because every conference games impacts who's going to the championship of your league. So that's just the reality of it. And you just embrace it and let's go compete. Go get a result and go to the next one. Every game in college football to me is every week it's a season of its own. It's a season of its own, and then you learn from it, you study it, and then you put it away, and new season every week. And that just has to be your mentality. You can't let stuff carry over. I don't care what the circumstances are. And I've been on. We've had one undefeated team or two 14-0 teams. We've had a couple of those type of teams where, like, that just has to be your mentality. And I've also had a 4-4 team that, hey, none of that matters. That won out. So it's just you just have to just fight every week to get better and compete, and who's in, who's out, as far as your players and your personnel, and put a good plan together and go try to win that season every week.
How do you feel like this team is handling the mental and emotional side after these first two games, whether it's in game or in the aftermath?
Great. I mean, I thought you saw a lot of that Saturday. I mean, these guys. I mean, that's a frustrating situation to be in. And again, they won't take away from Troy. This isn't some 1AA team now. It's a good football team. All right, a well-coached team. They're tough. They got good players, and you're down 16-0. And like everything's gone against you, and your defense is sitting there going, "What the heck?" It can challenge you. But I think you saw the grit of our team, the heart of our team, the resilience of these guys, courage. Got to have some courage to fight back in those situations. And so I think you learned a lot about the mentality of our team. Same thing against LSU. Came down to the last play. Even though we again, you know what you're watching, we missed a lot of opportunities in that game. Big opportunities that were there. And don't take anything away from them. But when you had to have it, we get a punt return, and we go right down the field. And we're in position inside the 15, and we just don't make a play that's there. 2 plays. We'll make a 3rd down or 4th down play, and both of them are there. And so we didn't finish, but their toughness, their will to win is on full display in both of our games. So they got a great will to win, and when you got that, you get better.
Coach, that first touchdown of Adams, you just gave him a big hug. What were you saying to him in that moment?
I was just proud of him. I mean, it was, I thought he really, sparked us. I mean, he ran through some trash. He broke some tackles. You could just see, again, his will to win, and just saw his heart. That's what I thought. And it really just it ignited his teammates. It was great to see that.
After the Troy game, you mentioned being defenses be better on 3rd and long. I guess was it something Troy was doing that they were executing, or was
No, it's us. It's us. They just took advantage of it. We got the biggest run, the 28-yard run was Sammy's right there, and for some reason he runs backside. We got the run's going to stay between Ronan and Sammy, and just at the last second, I mean, he's right there in the gap. He plays over the top. So just try to do too much. Just do your job, and it's a 1-yard gain. Instead, it goes 28. Then we had a pass play, a long yardage, and Ronan didn't get – he just had the wrong call and lined up wrong. He's supposed to be in a show position. He's supposed to run to the middle of the field. Well, he's over here lined up wrong, and then he just stayed there. Even if he lines up wrong and gets where he's supposed to be, it would have been okay. But he didn't, and so they threw the ball right where the void was, where he was supposed to be. So they took advantage of the mistakes, and then, the big wheel route, that's Kobe. His eyes are on 2, but we don't have man coverage. That's a fire zone, so he's got a zone, and he played it like he had man coverage on the running back. The running back just stayed in the backfield, so he's coming up, and they slip in. He should have been dropping right in that zone, right to him. And so just some details, just some execution. Nothing that can't be corrected, base stuff. So guys are playing hard. The ball's coming out quick. We've played 2 teams that they don't hold. Neither team's held the ball. I mean, that's. I mean, I talked to their head coach after the game just to chat with him a little bit. And I mean, there was no way they were going to hold the ball. They weren't going to play in a drop back passing game. So the ball was going to come out quick. It was going to be play screens and play actions, and we got to be a little better on the perimeter. We've done okay, but we got to tighten some things down and get off a few blocks, be a little more physical out there. But we've done some good things. I mean, the 1st and 23, we got them at 1st and 23, and they run a boot, and we've got a field pressure coming. Like, that should be a sack. You can't have a better call. That's like running a reverse, and you got a corner cat coming. Like, you almost think they knew your play coming, right? Like, anytime you run a reverse and here comes a corner cat, you're like, all right, wait a minute, So I mean, we got field pressure coming right into a boot, and our pressure guy goes inside. And I mean, he's the outside. I mean, he's the edge guy. I mean, he ought to blow that up. Instead, the quarterback's right outside, and then AV, it's 1st and 23, so he's playing tight about 2 yards on the receiver there, as opposed to just playing a float technique. And so, you know, because we're in a 2 deep there, and he's got the flat, but he's about 2 yards. And so instead of playing a float technique and making them take the underneath little dump throw, they throw in behind him, and it's 1st and 23, and it goes to, you know, whatever. You know, they end up getting the first down. So they're just details, just some situational awareness, some details, just alignments, eyes on the right things. You know, it's a difference between man and zone, where you're supposed to be. So nothing that they can't correct. The 3rd and 9 run was our 3rd and 7 run. We didn't get the call communicated to our 2D tackles, so we weren't where we needed to be there. So just mistakes by us and that they took advantage of. But they're playing tough, playing hard. We've turned people over, and we keep them out of the end zone. You know, and that's the name of the game, points. And if we can be a stingy defense, and again, the first touchdown was on the coaches. So really, our defense has given up 2 touchdowns. You know, the one that they got on our defense, that was on us as coaches. Should not have happened, but give them credit. It was a little game plan deal that caught us, and we didn't help them.
Is Tristan Leigh, is he practicing this week?
Yeah, we're going to do an injury report on Thursday. So I think it starts this week, right? So we'll put that out on Thursday. But I'm sure you'll know by tonight. So you can tweet it out.
What's that process been like with the injury report and knowing that everybody else is going to be doing one, too, in those?
I mean, I really don't care, honestly. I mean, it's just, you know, the new thing this year. We did it before. I don't know what year that was. Maybe it was before COVID.
I think it ended like 17.
Yeah, we did it at one point. We had to do all that stuff. And then, Tim, you probably remember that. But then it went away. And I guess it's coming back. So we'll put something out on Thursday. And then I think we put something out again Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I guess that's kind of what the NFL does, isn't it? So it's just, I guess it's for gambling. I think that's what the purpose of it is. So we'll post it on Thursday. But like I said, y'all check Larry. He'll have it. He'll have all the info way before then. Way before.
On that injury, how much has the flow of the offense been missing Antonio in there?
I mean, he's our best player. I mean, it's just that simple. He's the best player we got. He's special. I mean, he's just seasoned. He's crafty, smart. I mean, he's a special dude. So he certainly doesn't help us that he's not out there. But like I said, if we can just find a way to battle through, and you know, it's these first couple games, that the positive has been Tyler has been able to really make some plays and really get back in the rhythm of playing, having been out last year.
Is this the most surprised you've been that over the years that camp performance offensively hasn't translated?
No, dealt with it before. I mean, I feel like I'm living 2016 all over again, honestly. In fact, I went back and looked at my notes from 2016 after the Troy game, just curious. And it was like I could have just erased the name. I could have just walked into the team meeting with the same comments, because, you know, we just weren't different reasons, but same comments. You know, the only difference is we made one more play than Auburn in the opener. Came down to a Hail Mary. We played terrible. I think we dropped 3 touchdowns in that game. I think we had 11 drops in our first 2 games, those 2 years. I think we had 11 drops. Again, 3 touchdowns in the Auburn game. That was the game, and then Wayne Gallman, you know, he ran out of bounds, and I mean, it's just like we just were. I don't know. Deshaun was not playing well. What's wrong with Deshaun? Everybody's beating Deshaun up. He's terrible. He thinks he's the Heisman. He's this and that. He was 16. It was his last year. all the hype. And, you know, honestly, similar to this team, that was the first time that they got all the rat poison. You know, and that's kind of this group. This group hadn't really. This group ain't had the rat poison. They've just had the you suck poison. And this is the first time this group's really had to manage that. And I don't think some of them have managed it well. Obviously, you know, just being real. And I would say the same thing about that group. You know, because nobody voted us high in 15, and we just kept winning. And we just kept winning. That might have been the best team I've had, honestly, was 15. I mean, that was a really good group. And they just kind of, but nobody really expected much out of them. We hadn't won the league since 11. And all of a sudden, here comes 15, and that team wins the league. You go on to the national championship. We know all how that played. But now coming into the 16 season, there's a lot of rat poison, as Coach Saban likes to talk about. And these are young people. Your quarterback's he's the first pick. He's the Heisman. You got all these guys back. You know, you got Mike Williams back. You got Artavis. You got Ray. You got Dion. You got Renfro. You got all these guys, and you know all these experienced guys up front. You got these guys on defense, and you're just going to press play right to Tampa, right? And that's kind of how I felt with that team. That was. I actually said that to the team. I mean, you guys feel like y'all can just, because you know their whole mindset was we're going to Tampa. And I'm like, you don't just hit fast forward. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, this ain't a video game where you just, like on TV, on the screen, when you hit 10 seconds forward or you hit the arrow and it goes to the next thing. That ain't how this works. You know, it's one step at a time, one play at a time. You got to play every game. You're getting everybody's best shot. You're the league champion. And so I don't think they handled that well out of the gate. You know, and we go down to Auburn. I thought we stunk, even though and it's the same thing. If Cade throws the touchdown to Tyler Brown, and we win in overtime, I'm still pissed on Monday. Ain't nothing changed. Nothing changes. It's how you play. I've won a lot of games where we played like crap. I've lost some games where we played really good. And sometimes the team's just better. You know, so I mean, to me, it's how you play. It's about how you play, who you play, where you play, what time you play, any of that stuff. It's how you play the game, right? Coach Stallings used to always say, when the great scorer comes to mark against your name, he cares not whether you won or lost, but how you played the game. And so, and then the next week, ironically, we were playing Troy, and it was the same thing. I think it came down to an onside kick. Couldn't stop them in the fourth quarter. Win 30-24. That was a national championship. What's wrong? They all suck. Everything's bad. You know, but that team, I kept telling them, hey, you keep touching that stove, it's going to burn you. And sure enough, we get to Pittsburgh, and 600 yards of the shovel pass right up our it burned us. You know, and same thing. We had, 500 and something yards of, might have had 600 yards of offense. But how many turnovers did we have? I think we had 5 turnovers in that game. You know, Deshaun was turning it up. We just weren't playing well. We had 11 drops in the first 2. We just weren't playing well. So that's a long answer to your question. But yes, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. It doesn't always go perfect. And I've had some teams that get off to a great start that struggled a little bit in camp. And I've had some teams great in camp and struggle a little bit. I mean, again, who you play matters. I mean, we could, like I said, some of these teams out there don't break a sweat till October. But we've always played people. And, it doesn't always go great. But we're battle tested, but we got to get better. It just ain't no other, we continue like this, we ain't going to win many games. We got to get in rhythm on offense. And we got the dudes. And we got to do a better job as coaches and get in rhythm. But we're doing a lot of good things too. There's a lot of things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet that excite me as a coach, especially what I saw in the moment of last week. That was awesome. That's special. You hate situations like that, but it's special when you see a group of guys fight and stay together when everything's against you. So that was awesome. You saw it in the NFL. The Bills are down 15 with 4 minutes. I think half the stadium left, right? I've been to a Bills game. I'm sure that was salty, you know. But get what they do? They just kept playing. Just kept playing. You just keep playing. Just keep playing. Have a bad week, keep playing. Keep playing. We're 4-4 around here. We won 5 in a row. I mean, you just got to play every week. And as coaches, we're teachers, you know. And these are so many great lessons that you learn through this game of football that equip you for the rest of your life. And so, you know, it ain't always easy. They don't always go the way you want. For me, and none of y'all either. It's just, you know, I got a group of people writing about it the whole way through. It just comes with it. It's part of it.
If the diagnosis for the 16 team is wanting to hit the fast forward button to play Alabama again, do you know enough yet to diagnose the reasons behind the current?
Yeah, that's what I said. I think it's the first time that this bunch, and I don't know if that's the reason. I just think it's the first time. I mean, they just, you know, the part that's supposed to suck is my punter and my special teams, and they're playing great, but they've been told how bad they are the whole time, how bad they are. But offensively, it's been like, man, nobody's going to ever stop. They're never going to punt. Nobody's going to ever stop them. You know, well, you forget you got to go play the game, and you got to execute. Everybody's got good coaches and good players, and our execution is just not what it needs to be. The precision and the details, it's just not. And that's exactly what I said. You know, I knew I had good players. I got great players. I got guys that are going to play on Sunday, but everybody's got a job to do. And, you know, my job is, are we in position to be successful? Now, if we're not in position to be successful, the plays aren't there, then that's a different story. That's a different story. But, you know, everybody's got accountability in what they got to do. And we better be on point this Saturday. This will be a battle.
You mentioned the special teams. Really, the only miss has been the 48-yard field goal that was missed. Other than that, you've had a punt return that was significant, a kickoff return probably that didn't get enough play last week. No kickoff returns by opponents. One punt return, I think, so far by opponents.
And we pinned them deep. We put them inside the 10. We executed a deep onside. I mean, Jackson, he's done a really nice job. I mean, that kid had a lot of pressure on him. Y'all couldn't wait for him to shank one. I mean, y'all couldn't wait for him to shank one. I know y'all had all the headlines ready. Sweeney's stupid. He should have gone to the portal and got a punter. He's, you know, whatever. Y'all had them ready. Y'all had them. Y'all keep them. They might come a day where y'all can use them, but not today. Today's not the day. Could come a day. So hang on to them. I know you got them written.
Because we heard a lot about his inconsistency at times, Jax. I guess was there a point in camp or the spring or the fall where you saw that kind of turnaround?
I mean, I don't think it was inconsistent. I think all three guys can do the job. I just think, you know, sometimes we just think because we don't name a guy that they're all terrible, and that's just not the case. We have 3 good punters. Like, I really believe in McCune, and I feel terrible. I've been calling him McCune for it's McCune, like a Q, and he finally got the courage to tell me like 2 weeks ago. I feel terrible about that. Apologize to his family, but, you know, I mean, it looks like McCune, but it's McCune. Pecan, whatever. It's, you know, there's a lot of ways to do this stuff. But anyway, that kid can punt the ball. So can Robert Gunn. All 3, I really have confidence in all 3 of them, but it wasn't that they were inconsistent. They were all just pretty good, and nobody just took it. There was times where they were all like, whoa, and then they were just not bad, but just nobody really just separated. And so, bless you. And so I just, you know, I mean, Jack's the guy we recruited, and I thought he was just a nudge. He's been here. He's kind of ready. And but now you got, like I said, now you got to go to the game. That was kind of the next stage. Was all right. Well, let's get to the game, and then we'll decide if we keep running him out there. We give another guy a chance. That could be an in-game decision. You know, but he's really performed well. I mean, you're talking about against LSU's first punch backed up in the end zone. I mean, it doesn't get any tougher than that. And he's placed the ball well directionally. He's sky punted it. He's been really good. But I have confidence in those other two guys. I think we have a really good punting situation. So I know there's been a lot of angst about it, but somebody comes to practice one day, or the media comes to practice for 2 periods, and it's like, oh my God, they all shanked it. Well, maybe they just had a bad day, a bad period. It'd be terrible to be judged on 1 hour of our day. We could have a bad hour, and the other 23 were pretty good. So I think just misinformation or whatever from time to time gets out there and creates their own narratives. And y'all don't always believe me, even though I tell y'all the truth. So, except Cornblood, I never tell him the truth.
Years ago, there was just consistency with him, just had to improve. So
he had to from definitely early on in his career, and Aiden was the most consistent, and Aiden did a nice job for us. So he just couldn't quite beat him out, and Aiden got the game experience, and we were comfortable with him, and did a nice job.
The fans had like a tailgate part 2 during the rain delay. They were having a party up there waiting for you guys. What does that support mean for you, for them to
Were they
stick
selling
around?
alcohol in the parking lot?
Yeah, it might have helped with the sticking around a little bit.
Oh, it's great. I really appreciate those that hung in there. I mean, that's just, it's a tough. It was a great crowd at the beginning, and then it was, fairly sparse. But those that were there were awesome. I mean, they were loud, and they were, right on point when we needed them to be. So I really appreciate that, because again, I know it's just and they want to be safe. I mean, there's storms, there's all kind of stuff. So I thought they did a great job. Again, those that hung around, we really felt that presence, and it made a difference for us down the stretch.
What's your relationship like with Brent Key, interim coach, trying to kind of do what you did?
Yeah, Brent's been great. I mean, we've spent a lot of time together, talked together a bunch, and he's a Birmingham boy. Played at Hewitt Trustful. I played at Pelham, so we're both from kind of same neck of the woods. I just think he's done a great job. He really loves that place. He played there. It's important to him, and he's put his personality into it. They're a physical football team. He's a offensive line guy, and he believes in running the football, and they live that out. So I think he's done a really, really good job, and he's recruiting well, but he's put a good staff together. I think their staff is excellent. Staff's done an awesome job. You got really good coordinators, and so got a lot of respect for Brent. Always fun to be around him. He's got a good personality. He's got good perspective.
What's the challenge? They've got a first-time DC that's not really been a play caller. You got really 1 game's worth of real tape.
Yeah.
What's the challenge of facing that?
It's a challenge. I mean, at least you have Colorado. I mean, that game came down to the wire. So, I mean, they wasn't worried about Clemson, playing Colorado. They're doing everything you can. Like I said, every game's a season of its own. You gotta just be in the moment you're in, do everything you can to win. So, at least some years you got teams you play and they ain't played anybody in 3 weeks, so you don't really know. But you got a little bit of a feel, and you got a couple games at least seeing their personnel, and obviously we got some tape from last year as far as some of the personnel stuff. But you got to look at Texas. I mean, he came from Texas. Obviously we played them, so you study that, study his background a little bit on where he's been, and try to do, these first couple games are all, games that you have to do a lot of off-season work in to try to, have the best possible plan that you can. Especially, you do it regardless, but especially when you have coordinator changes, or you're playing somebody that's got, just a total roster makeover. So now you got to spend a lot of time, just trying to get a feel for who the player is, even though you're looking at him in a scheme that maybe isn't the same.
2
games, and how do you feel about the rotation at tight end, what they've been able to get out of the offense?
Yeah, been good. I think they've been a steady group. Like I said, we got 3 guys that we really like. Sapp had a little better week. A little better week last week. Ran out there first, but those guys they're all guys we have a ton of confidence in. Bentoncourt is just going to keep getting better. He missed 2 big blocks, back-to-back plays late in the game that he'll learn from. But he's made some plays. Sapp's made a couple plays. Olsen's made a couple big plays. I think the tight ends have been a real bright spot for us. Just steady with what we've asked them to do to this point, but more to come.
The 2 nickel spots, and there's a bigger and smaller one. What have you liked from the rotations at both of those positions?
Well, we've just had the 2 games, so the style of the teams we're playing kind of dictate that a little bit. The team we just played, personnel-wise, very different, and so you saw a lot of linebackers. And you saw Jamal, kind of our Sam guy. He played a lot of that position. I think Tink might have played about 15 plays. There was probably only about 20 snaps. And then you got AV that's playing some stuff too when we get into some of our package stuff, on some long yardage stuff. So, not having Khalil hurts us for sure. Because he gives us the most flexibility. But the glass half full side of that is Ronan has been able to really, I think, advance in these first couple weeks and play through some mistakes, but just be able to go play. So I think that long term it will help us. So be excited to get Khalil back.
How important was it for Sadler to play as many snaps as he had to play at left tackle for you last week?
Well, I wish he didn't have to, but again, some of these things early in the season can pay big benefits for you as you move, because they don't forget that. And he's a guy you go into it and you say, okay, we really like, we got 5 tackles. That's how we with Tristan and Blake and Sadler and Elijah and Braden. That's kind of how we looked at, like, okay, we got 5 tackles that we're going to be able to go through the season with. And but in the heat of the moment, and all of a sudden now you got Collin having to bump out, playing left guard, left tackle. First of all, it's good for him long term, just his versatility and his ability to, put it on tape. I think that's a great thing for him, but certainly a great thing for us to have, flexibility with guys that we can move, get our best 5 on the field, however that shakes out. And when you got 5 guys that we think can play tackle, that's a really good thing. And Collin obviously can play guard. Elijah can play guard. Elijah can play center. That's a blessing. But so he's gotten some good experience now. I think that helps him. A lot like Elijah last year as a freshman, having to go play some tackle and do a good job. That you don't forget that. That leads to confidence.
Anyone else for Coach?
There was an ESPN article this summer saying how one of the transfer portal players you wanted to keep was A.J. Hoffler with Georgia Tech now. I guess what kind of made him a special player that you, wanted to possibly retain here at Clemson?
Yeah, I think A.J.'s a great talent. I think he's a great player, and I think he was kind of on his way, but that's a decision he made. He's a great kid, a great mom and dad. Really just love the whole family, and wish we could have, finished the race with him here. But again, that's just a decision that he made, and respect that. And I think he's got a bright future.
More like a radio show that you want to see 5 seasons of eligibility.
Yeah.
5 years. How hopeful are you that could actually happen?
Well, I'm very hopeful, but I don't really have any intel, if you will. But I think it would be great for a lot of reasons. I think it would clean up a lot of the medical waiver, all that stuff. But I also think it would clean up an unintended consequence. When they put the 4 games in for the red shirt deal, you could play 4 and still red shirt. That was a positive. Everybody loved that. But now with the world we're in, now it's like, especially with rosters being lessened, And it's like, all of a sudden now you got, and it's not their fault. It's just the system, the way it is, you know. So now all of a sudden you got a bunch of kids that are going to self-redshirt themselves after 4 games if they're not playing or where they are or they don't. And, you know, you got agents involved. There's a lot of stuff. And all of a sudden you get 10, 11, 12 guys self-redshirt themselves to save a year. Well, that's, first of all, it's not good for the game. It's not what it was, the system was, it's not what it was intended to be. And I don't think it's good for the player. Whereas if you just, the 5 for 5 would just clean all that up. Because then guys could play. Even if they knew they were leaving, they'd still play, you know, in whatever role they would and finish. And I just think, you know, it just creates bad blood. And I you know, I just don't think that stuff's necessary. I think the 5 for 5 would clean it all up. It's just my opinion.
Anybody else for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.